Thanks everyone for being here. I'm sure people will keep on rolling in while we're going. And the first thing on the agenda to discuss is some upcoming events. This month, haven't decided a date quite yet, but we have the Archaeologist V2 Tech Talk coming up. And that's going to be hosted by Quick Change, myself, and then there might be someone else in there as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in quick. We're going to look to get some other people in there. Maybe we can get one of the developers to jump in and have that conversation. We just have to figure out. But the discussion would be on what's gonna happen between V1 and V2, what V2 is gonna look like, and if there's any possible updates to V2 along the way. I think that's something that's important to discuss, just to let everyone know what's going on, what is the archaeologist doing, and see if we can get someone to just do the discussion and kind of explain how it's going to work. It may not be the most detailed, but it'll give a general idea outside of what we already know, in the fact that it'll be, a Shamir shared key where there's going to be five key holders, right? They have five shards
Yes.
of it that make up a key. You need 3 of 5 to make a key to decrypt the second layer of the archaeologist. We want to make sure that that's not the only change that's going on. There's going to be there's some technical aspects to it. Maybe we can dive in a little bit on that. And then the other aspect is what's going to come up of this this Arweave archaeologist. How are we going to make that work? And I think that's something that's much more attainable for new users to involve and be a part of the community.
Something now they may have reverted back to that idea again, and maybe I need to go back and reread the GitHub. But I recall, like a couple of weeks ago, that they decided to rejoin, like just to make it one service again instead of two. I need to go back and reread the GitHub, make sure I didn't misread something. But
yeah, that's what I want to go through too. Before it even comes out, we'll kind of give a heads up what's going on, because I think that's important to discuss.
All right, and speaking of the GitHub, that's always a great place. The GitHub channel in Discord, if everyone wants to see things as they're happening, every time any commit or any comments are done, there's an update there. There's also a duplicate of that channel over in the Decent DAO where the developer chat is. And that's where all the talk about development for Sarcophagus and the team kind of gets together and chats. So if anyone wants to see like what they're actually talking about, you can go there and actually see the conversations. The most recent conversations have been about V2, and then also about also about a coming liquidity sub-DAO that's going to be controlled by the DAO. The sub-DAO has been formed already. It is 7 total signers, and it's a 5 of 7 scheme where it requires 5 people to sign. And the idea is that 500k worth in USDC and 500k worth in Sarco will be transferred to the sub-DAO. The USDC will be swapped for ETH, and then all of it will be placed in the Uniswap LP pool. So that'll add, 1 million in total liquidity. So this is one of the recent conversations they've been having over there. And that's in motion. The sub-DAO is formed. So next is the DAO vote to fund it, and then that will increase the liquidity to a more sustainable level is kind of the idea there. Also noteworthy, I've been doing a lot of Sarcophagi myself, just having fun with the tomb and checking it out, and it is working like so smoothly right now. So if anyone wants to jump on the V1 testnet tomb and try out the concept and get an idea of how it works and a good feel for it, it's up and running, and we can give out tokens to anyone who wants to try it. We've got plenty of supply, and right now, that's something really minor to mention on that, is that the testnet's gonna get jumped to a different testnet at some point because of the merge. The merge is gonna shut RinkB down in, I think, August. I think they're shutting RinkB down once the official merge happens. So we're gonna jump. The last thing I heard was that the testnet would just be relaunched on like Gorley probably, because it's one of the ones that's going to stay alive. But that hasn't been decided for sure. But that's the one that they've talked about jumping over to once Rinkeby shuts down. So I guess take advantage of the Rinkeby one while we can, and then they'll probably have to, relaunch it on Gurley and then mint a new testnet token contract for that testnet version. And also some good material that happened recently. The Decent DAO and Sarcophagus AMA, that's up on the YouTube, along with all the recordings of all these events. But that one's a really good one to go listen to if you want to get some good insight on V2 and the developments that have been happening. And then speaking of liquidity, the liquidity farming incentive ended on May 13th, and that's part of the reason why they're doing the DAO-owned LP now, is with the liquidity farming ending, the liquidity has started to shrink kind of rapidly, and so this will kind of come in on the back of that and help create a more sustainable economy, so the Deadman switch is a little easier to use and access the tokens for. And then the recent update is out, thanks to USC Miggs for getting that out. I talk about V2 development, the liquidity sub-DAO. He goes into more detail about it in that. That's up on Medium. Every month we put one out, and he's been writing those up. They're always really great, so I suggest reading those. Also does some touching on Tech Talks number 3 about DAOs. And then we've had some recent community changes as well. We reorganized the Discord and created a user-defined role system, so you can choose your own role based on what you think your strength is as far as contribution to things in life. So if you think you're an artist, you can designate yourself as an artist in the server. If you think that you have, strong social media connections, you can designate yourself in that. Data science, videography, like there's a bunch of different ones. So that serves a couple different purposes, but allows people to kind of designate themselves as something. And it also, like, say, for example, we've been doing a lot of community contributed things lately, like we've done graphics for these events with the community and stuff like that. So it makes it a little easier for, instead of, say, adding the entire server on something like that, we can just add these little groups of people who have defined themselves as being in that role, and it makes it more direct, and then only the people that actually want or care about that specific thing would get added, so it kind of makes things more efficient all around. But we definitely want to get everyone's ideas out there and get everyone working together on the stuff. That's what we've really been focusing on, is trying to really get everything out in the public, everything that we're building, everything that we're doing. It's all public. Even the ambassador talks have just started, been way more in the general chat. Like, we just want to make everybody feel included and like they're a part of the process. And then Tech Talks number 2, there was Tech Talks number 2 was on privacy, and there's a recap of that on Medium as well. Thanks again to Miggs for getting that up. And then Tech Talk number 3, there's a recording of all of them up on YouTube. Number 3 was on DAOs, and we touched a lot on just what a DAO is and how the Sarcophagus DAO ecosystem works with its main DAO, its sub DAOs, and how they all relate to each other and how it works. And then there's been a lot of talk lately about some project collaboration, like trying to find things that the Tomb can work with, like will creation tools, stuff like that. And all those discussions are being had in the public. Again, you can join the Decent DAO Discord if you want to see the builders, devs, and ambassadors all talking together. Everything's out in the open. We want as much input from everyone as possible. And mentioning some community input recently, Nisikin, I hope I'm saying that right, and Essie both created images for the recent events, and Nisikin did a quick write-up as well that's going to be real helpful for just getting that information published on Medium. So thanks for that. Really awesome artwork that they both did, and really cool to just get that stuff out there where it's like, hey, the community is actually a part of this. This isn't just this group of people over here. It's like everyone can be a part of this. And then again, USC Miggs, he also put together a great document with a ton of foresight and information on just overall growth and how we're going to be going about trying to like grow the community and grow the use of the concept in general. And with building happening in the background, this really gives us some time to properly like address and properly structure how we're going to move forward once V2 launches, like how to aggressively like get it in people's hands, get it being used, and just actually get it out there where it's in use in places and people are like, yes, as soon as this is available, we're going to use it. And that's a discussion that's been happening quite a bit lately, especially with the ambassadors and the team, is that we want to see like other organizations, not just individuals, but organizations as well, and even some businesses or whatever, lawyers, you name it, that can use this service as in addition to what they do. Like, for instance, estate planners. Like, there's a lot of I found a service called Free Will online. And it's just a free service that allows you to create your own legal document that is a living will. And their whole premise is that they hope that people who do that will put right into their will that some of it goes to charity. And that's like their whole premise of their website for funding and everything, is they just they provide the free software for people to do it themselves, and then they just kind of like basically are like, yeah, if you want to donate, that's great. If not, well, here's the software. And I thought that whole idea and concept kind of fitted well, so I reached out to them. I haven't gotten a reply yet, but I think it'd be really great to find software and companies like that provide a really simple online service for something like creating wills and trusts to go like in conjunction with the tomb. Because even when you're doing like a will in the tomb, you don't just like write up a document, stuff it in there and call it good, because it does have to have some legal weight and there's a process to that. So it would be really great just to get these groups that are already in that are already doing that, and work with them on getting people to use this for that purpose, because it'll take some of that to really get people onboarded for general purposes like that. And then also, I want to try reaching out to a couple of like password encryption groups and whatnot, and talk to them about password recovery tools and how this could possibly be used for that as well. Like create a mechanism that just watches for logins, and if somebody fails to log in for a certain amount of time, it recovers their password to this secret address that they designated. So there's just a lot of different possible uses that we want to try and actively get it out there being used for. And with that in mind, something that's come up, like this is the last little thing I want to touch on, and then I kind of open the floor for everybody else to talk, is we're discussing creating a bounty out of it. We're still deciding on the specifics right now, but the bounty would be basically, it would just harness the community and be like, hey, you know what? If you know a lawyer who can use this service or a company who can use this service, and you go through and you help get them onboarded to it. And with V2 coming, I don't know if pledge is quite the right word, but we'd like to see, and just an example, like the free will that I was talking about, we'd like to see groups like that basically say, like publicly, like, hey, we're going to use this. Like once it's available, like we've used the testnet, we like the concept, and once V2 is available, we want to use it and try using it in conjunction with the tech or the software that we have. And that's what we're really like super looking for right now, is we want to see these groups and organizations actively like looking to use it when it's available. So the bounty would be basically that community members can go out and what's the word I'm looking for? Just basically find these businesses and groups and talk to them, and if they, and if through that conversation, through that that looking for that hunting, if we get some onboarded, they're like, hey, we're going to use this V2, this is great, then we want that to be like a bounty where someone can get like an incentive for doing that, because that is a lot of work. Like we've been doing it in the background ourselves, like reaching out to these groups, talking to organizations, explaining to people how it works and how it could work, specifically with with their stuff is it's a lot of work, and we that's why we're considering making a bounty out of it, because that, and it's a big deal for the project too, to have these businesses pledge that, oh, we're going to use this, like that is a big deal to have that. So that's why we're discussing making a bounty out of that. But with that,
Yeah, John, I
oh
agree
yep,
with you there. I think that would be really, really great, and it's gonna take a lot of commitment, time, and energy to get with a business, especially one like the free will that you mentioned. If they're running for free and offering their stuff up for free, then I think that they might have emails filled with people reaching out. You've probably
yep,
got to be pretty persistent. And then once you do get in touch with them, I'm sure you got to get to know their business model pretty well. Get to know who
exactly.
works over there and integrate it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a lot of groundwork there. Just even once you make contact, getting to know them and figure out if it's even a good fit.
Yeah, yeah. But I like the idea. I think it's great. I think people getting to know Sarcophagus really well and then could cozy up with some businesses and really help them out.
Definitely. Yeah, that's definitely the hope, is that we can get it in the hands of people who can actually use it. I think that the biggest hurdle is basically just showing people how easy it is to use. Like, hey, it sounds complicated, but this is actually really simple.
Yeah,
And it's great to have the test net for that too. You can, in like 2 or 3 minutes, you can show someone start to finish, what the concept is, and then they're like, oh, okay.
yeah, that's wonderful that we've got that up and running now.
But anyway, do we have any other topics we want to cover? Quick Change had to drop off. He's got some stuff at work.
Um, Hi Johnny, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we were at some point we were talking about Saco Radio. Is that still something we want to work on?
Sarco Radio. Oh, well, it's something we can do. I actually recently discovered a way to do it. I have a bot that I subscribe to that does 24/7 like just music. The problem is the only source of music that it will take is Spotify like radio or actual music tracks. If you try to get it to do like podcast tracks and stuff like what we do here, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work with YouTube either. So the bot we have now is supposed to work with YouTube, but I've had issues with it in the past. I could try testing on it again and see if they got it fixed. But the bot we have now is supposed to be able to go into a voice channel and play the sound from YouTube. From designated YouTube tracks like over and over again. So we could take our recordings of these meetings and podcasts and whatnot, and we could get it to play on a loop on the bot, and it would be just like radio, like a Sarco dedicated radio. So no, that's something I can definitely look at and see if we can get working. I can create a little channel in our ambassador area and pull the bot in there and get him to start playing and see if it works properly. It was working the last time I did it. It's just the problem was tracks got stuck and the loop didn't work the last time I tried using it, and that was why I ended up going with a different bot. But they may have fixed that feature. They've been upgrading that bot in the background, so I'll try it again.
So what the bot does is to basically pull in audio, say a podcast that we do outside of Discord, and then play it in a channel, a voice channel here on Discord. Yeah?
Yes,
Or
that's
do
what it
we
would
have
do.
to? Okay, okay. Also, I came across this. I was talking to uh, one of the founders of a new uh, listening system. So you can what their product does is that you can literally have podcasts or anything else on the platform, and as you're listening, you're earning tokens. I don't know if that. Well, I spoke with them. The product is still the earning part is still under development. So I gave you could use the stuff to as a way to actually
Hey, you're cutting out pretty bad, man. But I think I understand what you're saying.
people who are joining us who are tuning into the podcast or something like that. Well, the earning part is still in
Hey, you're cutting out pretty bad, man.
Oh,
I
so
can't understand anything you're saying.
okay.
Yeah, we're
I said
losing you almost
Yeah, we're
altogether.
losing you, man.
Is it like
I'll just probably type in Discord.
learn to earn thing?
Just type in the chat later.
Yeah, it sounds like he's talking about a bot that rewards people with an incentive for listening to podcasts related to the project, which that sounds like a cool idea and all, but I'm not sure it would be a fit for us here because honestly, I think we're trying to get away from just too many incentives and
Yeah.
trying to push everyone towards participating in the governance and using the tomb. Like those need to be kind of what we focus on. Oh, he dropped off.
Yeah.
I think his signal's bad.
I like the idea of incentivizing real actions. Like if you're going to be listening to a podcast, I think what you hear is probably your reward.
But anyway, thank you for mentioning that, though, Ed. That is a neat idea for sure, and we can talk about it more. Right now, your signal's cutting out pretty bad, but you can always bring it up in the ambassadors, and we can chat about it. But anyway, is there anything else anyone wanted to bring up?
One thing I like that I don't know if we really went over is the different roles that you came up with. I think that those could be really helpful with getting like some different designers or artists to collaborate on things. I think that some of the projects are going to be becoming a little bit more complex, especially going into V2. And we could really use some different team members jumping on and working together.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea when Miguel came up with that. Like we had thought about doing that before, but just hadn't done it yet because we weren't sure how it would work. And then Miguel kind of fleshed it out and created that little system. So and that's exactly what the purpose was like to give us a way to see, who's an artist in the server who would be interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that just doing that is one extra step towards actually working together. Reach out to us whenever you want. If you have an idea, you want to collab or do whatever, just help on a project, see what we're up to or what we've got in the plans. I think that it's a good idea that we've moved a lot of our talking into the general chat, but again, we're around and we're always thinking about new things to work on, and if just one person reaches out, it could be enough to kick off a new project. So I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah. We get ideas all the time from other people, so definitely. But anyway, y'all, thanks for showing up today. I'm going to drop off here, and this will be recorded. I'm going to put this up later on the YouTube.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.